There we go. Welcome, welcome, everyone. So excited to see everybody tonight. And I am thrilled about our topic tonight and our facilitator tonight. And I probably say that a lot because we have an amazing community in the Hendricks world. So I want to welcome you all. If you don't know me, my name is Michelle Yasuda, and I'm the program director for the Big Leap Home online programs. And these are offerings from the Foundation for Conscious Living, where we come together to create community and learn and grow together. And I can't think of a better way than doing that to do that than to be in the presence of the incredible Becky Margiotta. I'm not going to turn the call over to you yet, because I just want to let everybody know that we have a community network that you are welcome to join for there's no cost for it. And it's a Mighty Networks. If you're not familiar with that, it's a platform with no ads. It's just our community, and you can not only can you go on there and learn about the latest offerings that we have, the latest classes, but you can also put questions out there or your current discoveries. And Kathlyn Hendricks loves the community and loves being on there. So you might even get to interact with her, which is a real treat. So let's see, do I have anything else I want to say for tonight? I don't think so. So Becky, I want to say that you are somebody who every time I'm with you, I feel an aliveness coming through and I feel sparked with energy. And I tend to be a pretty bubbly person, but when I'm around you, it's like off the charts. And I so appreciate the work that you're doing in the world. And I really would love for you to share with everyone. And I know at some point tonight you will share your exciting news and what's happening in your life. But I want to turn the call over to you. So thank you for being with us tonight.
Well, thank you, Michelle. And so good to see old friends, new friends. It's a real honor to be here and support the Foundation for Conscious Living. And just my day job is I own a small company called the Billions Institute, and I train people from nonprofits, governments, the National Health Service in the UK, basically on the conscious leadership and also how to do large scale change. But I smuggle in a whole lot of conscious leadership from, I did the Hendricks Institute Leadership and Transformation 2-year apprenticeship, I think about 10 years ago. So I incorporate that into everything I do, really to help people who are every day get up to try to make the world a better place, how to disrupt business as usual, maximize their impact and fulfill their purpose. So, and I work with a lot of people who I've met through the Hendricks Institute, which is just such a treat for me. So what I'm going to do today is give you either an introduction or a refresher on the upper limits problem, what it is and what to do about it. And this is something that I learned about from Kathlyn Hendricks. And I want to invite all the people who've been playing with this concept for years and years, and many of you longer than me, to jump in. So we can do some crowdsourced wisdom and sharing with one another. So this will be a very interactive session, and Michelle's going to be hopping on the chat. So we're going to be really looping with you and tuning in with you and make this really fun and check in. So the first thing I want to do is check in on how are you feeling. So I'm going to put into the chat here a link to something that you can join with a nickname. Or you can hold your camera up to this QR code and through your phone browser, it's going to take you to this site where you can put a one-word check-in of how you're actually feeling right now. And we can make a word cloud. Let me hop on over and show you what this is. Let me know if you're having any problem getting into it too. But we're going to create a word cloud together. So let's see, here we go. I got it that the meeting's being recorded. So this is what we're going to see this together. It's really kind of fun and awesome. Yeah, someone's curious. You figured it out. So all you do is write your idea. And so like tonight, I am feeling grounded. I don't know, is that a feeling? I'm going to just put that down. So, and then if you see something someone else is feeling, you can click over here where it says these ideas. So you can contribute yours here. And by the way, if you're feeling more than one thing, I want to hear it. But you can also click on this and see something someone else is feeling and give it a +1. So you can say, oh, I'm feeling excited too. So I'm gonna give that a +1. And it makes it a little bit bigger on the word cloud. So I'm just gonna, it's sort of like doing a mood check, doing a temperature check, seeing how we're doing. We've got curious, excited, grounded, anticipatory. What? Who put the what? I love that.
I missed the code.
Who was that?
I missed the code, Becky. Can I?
You bet. Here,
Yep.
yeah. I'm
Thank
gonna put it's in the chat. That's probably the easiest thing for you to do is just to click on that link in the chat, and it'll take you right there.
Got it. Okay.
You bet.
Thanks.
Yeah. I just want to give everyone. So, and one of the things we would do this in all the trainings I ever did with Katie over the years is many of them would start with even like embodying and bodifying where we're at. So if you want to tune into how could you do that with your body so you can match where you're at, if you're tired, what does that look like? If you're excited, but just, this is all really everything I've ever learned from Katie Hendricks is an invitation to come home to yourself, get aligned with yourself so that you can create from your essence, right? That's what this is all about. So what do we got? We got curious, exhilarated, excited, grounded, fed, nice. I'm still going to go with my favorite is the what. All right, great. So let's jump in. And however you're feeling, I'm glad you're here. We're all glad you're here. So let me jump in. So the upper limit problem, this is just a classic definition, is it's an inner thermostat setting that determines how much success or happiness that is. Totally, Julie, you're probably dying laughing. How much success or love or happiness we allow ourselves to enjoy in various aspects of our life, right? When we go over like, oh, that was too much happiness, too much success, too much sex, too much whatever, then we do something to bring it back down to a comfortable level, right? So that's kind of where I think of that, where, you know, the air conditioner kicks on and brings it back down to like, this is acceptable level of aliveness, of happiness, of whatever it is in my life. And really, one of the trainings with Katie, she was like, hey, what if you could trade in all the problems you've ever had in your whole life for one problem? And that's how much happiness and joy and goodness can you enjoy in your life? Like, what if that was actually your only problem? And that question has resonated and stayed with me for many, many years, right? I also think that there's this, like, this is a little bit going off script and not necessarily Hendricks orthodoxy, but I think there could be a lower limit problem too, that I'm curious about too, of do you hit some kind of bottom, whether it's with some aspect of your health or some aspect of your relationship where you go to like, now I got to turn the heat on, right? Like, okay, that's bad enough. Now I'm going to start taking better care of myself. Or like, oh, wow, okay, our relationship is really struggling. Let's go get some help, right? But all of that is keeping us within a range that's familiar and comfortable. And if what we really want to do is fulfill our purpose, do what we're here to do on the planet, part of our work is to keep on bumping up how much of this we can tolerate that. So what I want to do in this little bit of time that I have with you is to help you get familiar with your unique patterns for how you upper limit yourself, how you stop yourself from that upward trajectory, and then come up with some integration techniques that you can use, your go-to integration techniques, so that you can integrate. It's like an ULP prevention plan. We're going to do that and we're going to crowdsource it. So let me just pause here because I know this is a new concept and we're going to move pretty quickly into applications and explorations for yourself. But Michelle, is there anything in the chat we need to be paying attention to?
Not seeing any questions yet. So feel free if you have questions coming up during the call to put them in the chat and I will let people know. Leticia just said, I absolutely love the insight about the bottom limit. It resonates so much, especially as it relates to sadness.
Yeah, like Leticia, I don't want to overstate what you're saying, but is it like, you're like, okay, I'll allow myself to feel this much sadness, but then, okay, I got to get up and do something. Is that kind of, yeah, totally. So this can show up in so many aspects of our lives, and we get to choose. We can choose something different for ourselves, right? It's all made up. So let's pick what we want our settings to be and push through those. So, all right. So I'm just going to here's some of the ways that I have upped myself and I'm using it as a verb. Like I have upper limited, whatever it is. So I have some go-to ups that are ways that I actually bring myself back to even a level of feeling good within my body. So at the beginning of the pandemic, y'all, I was rocking it. I was eating so healthy and it was so easy and I didn't have any sugar anywhere. And my wife and I were going on vacation and I was like, I'm going to get myself some Bit-O-Honeys. And I did not get a bar of Bit-O-Honeys. I got a Costco barrel of Bit-O-Honeys and I just went on a Bit-O-Honey binge. And I literally have not recovered my sense of physicality since then. Okay. And so like that, like I look at this and I'm like, damn you Bit-O-Honeys. But that is like a way that I can stop myself from feeling like super healthy, super fit, all these things. Another way is by binging TV too late into the evening. And so we just recently finished season 3 of Succession and I don't know if you have this too, but my wife and I will be like, it'll be 11 o'clock and we'll be like, just have another episode. And then we watch the whole thing and then it's midnight and then we still got to get up at 7 to do whatever. And I'm just tired and like, for what, you know what I mean? And was it really worth it? Right. So that's another help. Coffee Haagen-Dazs, if you want to, find your way into being a really good friend with me, all you have to do is bring this over and I will love you forever. And then here's another one that in 2017, my business was like doing amazing. We just had our second kid. Life was good. Like everything was happy, happy, happy. Really just kind of in some ways like a real high level of success going on. And freak accident, slipped on the ice in New York City and broke all 3 bones in my ankle. That is an X-ray, right? So like everything's great. And then just boom, right? Like it was too great. Right. It was too. So that's another way of like looking at these ULPs for me. But those are just some for me. I know we have some very experienced ULPers on the call in addition to me. So what I want to do is well, let me go into the lower limit problem. And then I'm going to open it up for you to think about and share. I hope you're jotting down some notes about your particular way of stopping yourself from having too much success and joy and happiness in your life. I also have, this is pure hypothesis. I'm diverging a little bit from Hendricks orthodoxy, but I think there's also maybe a lower limit problem in that everything's kind of like actually not good. And then you intentionally make it worse. So I'll give you an example. So, and this is where Julie will be familiar. So this is my amazing, amazing hot wife, Christine, there sitting on the right. This is our wedding, actually. We were married by Kathy Hendricks. Very, very happy day. I love that smile on her face. And I will tell you what, after a year of being like this close to each other and all up in each other's business in the pandemic, we hit some bumps, right? Any of the issues that under normal circumstances, when I was traveling a lot or whatever, that we could have swept under a rug, there was just no running it away from it. And so our relationship was quite strained for a period of time. And we reached out to Julie Caldwell, who's on this call, which I like. She's probably too busy, but like, she is like the most extraordinary couples therapist on the whole planet, if you ever hit a bump. So thank you, Julie. But midway, I don't even know if we'd actually reached out to Julie yet, but right around the time where we reached out to Julie, our relationship struggled. And I was like, why don't we get a cat? So we adopted this one-eyed cat from the Petco. And I'll tell you what, Christine did not have a full body yes to this. If you've been to one of those classes, this is little Sweet Puff. He was first of all, he's the sweetest thing and I love him dearly, but he, was exceedingly mischievous. So we have 2 young kids and he just caused an insane amount of mischief. He would jump on our kitchen table while we were eating and stick his face in the food. And as you would pull him away, like his neck would crane like a foot to get the food. And like, then he would like go like this and get spaghetti everywhere. We used to keep our butter out on a dish because I like our butter soft. He would eat the butter and get it all over everything. I mean, this cat was so lovable and caused so much chaos. And it was just like, it was actually a source of stress in our marriage too. He somehow managed to climb the Christmas tree. I mean, this kid is like so hilarious. This is a screen door. He would just climb it all the way to the top. And I realized, wow, like this is actually adding to the marital stress. So this isn't scientific, but I started plotting the happiness of my marriage over how long we had the cat. It just went down and down and down. And I think it isn't just Christine's happiness, because if Christine's not happy, I'm not happy, right? And so eventually one day I was like, you know what? like, let's find another home for the cat. She too was like, let's change our agreement on the cat. And I was like, let's proactively change this agreement. It's not working for us. And she was like, I never agreed to the cat in the first place. And I was like, okay, well, this explains a lot. So this is just an example, I think, of you can stop yourself on the up end, or you can make things worse on the down end, right? Like, I think it can go either way. So if that brings to mind for you ways that you might do this, I hope this is helpful. Sweet Puff is in a very loving home now with 2 other cats that actually like him. Our cat was also hated his guts and was very mean to him. So he's much happier now. So now here's the question is, how do you ULP? How do you do this? And I also want to open it up to, you know, my people have been doing this for a long time, to just come off mute and share how you ULP. But again, if you hold your phone up to this, you'll get a little cue. You'll get into this, and let me just copy the link real quick. This is going to take you to the right place. Let me put it in the chat, and so either you can click through the chat or you can do this QR code. And I want everyone to have the opportunity to out how you ULP. So, and let me show you what this looks like as you go in. I'll put the QR code up for like 10 more seconds if you want to go that route. And this is what this starts to look like. So I see 9 of you are in there. If you we'll put that in the chat again. So all you do is you click on this plus button and you say how you ULP. So I ULP with coffee, ice cream, and you can make this any color you want. You can make it green or pink or blue. I'll go with blue. And then when you're done, you hit this little paper airplane, and it like puts it like it's on a dry erase board for everyone to see. So someone ULPs by saying yes to too many things. Someone ULPs with self-hate, worry thoughts. Who's my worry thoughts person? I tell you what, I took my kids to the beach. Michelle, girl, I took my kids to the beach Friday because we're keeping them out of school because of COVID and all that. And I swear I did not even enjoy a little bit. I was just like, they're going to drown. And literally, as I'm watching this, I'm like, am I ever going to be able to just enjoy taking my kids to the beach? You know, right? Totally. So with you. So eating and drinking, right? You get wound up and you can't get some sleep, paying attention to everyone else. These are great. Can I ask, someone who's been practicing this a while to share what you do, and to come off mic and speak it into the room so people can hear somebody besides me? Well, I'll arrange these. Yeah.
Someone willing to speak into the room?
I don't know where my hand's at, but I'll speak.
All right. Hi, Gina.
Hi. How do I overwhelm myself? Oh my gosh. I mean, how do I ULP?
Yeah.
How much can I take on? I will push myself to the breaking point.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Saying yes to things that you probably the spirit is willing, but the calendar is weak.
Yes, I will override the no. Like my body will say, and I'm I can get that done. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a great way to ULP yourself. Totally great way to ULP yourself. And I'm kind of arranging these sugar. We got some people in my sugar family here, pushing yourself. Facebook.
Oh, I love your bucket of bun. What do you call it? Bit of honey?
God, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Comparing my life to others. Oh, that's such a great way to bring you down. I see a couple here of disconnect from your spouse or nitpick your husband, right? That's like that sounds like it's a go-to. Or neglecting to rest, right? Staying up too late. Sugar. Any other OGs here? You want to share yours? Let's hear from one more person.
I think one of mine I'll share is incompletions. So leaving things incomplete and then having them out there with weight.
Yeah.
So that's a great alt move for me.
And I don't know if there's one of these Foundation for Conscious Living things on incompletions, but that would be a really great one.
Yes, we did. We actually, Audrey just did one, and it's up on the Mighty Networks and the Hendricks Institute YouTube. So you can look
Oh,
for that one. That's new. So yeah, if anybody missed that one, there's a wonderful Audrey Hayes camp on completions. I agree.
Oh.
It's fantastic.
Oh, that's fabulous. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Incompletions. Right. Ugh. Fighting. Gina, what's up for you? Yeah.
I was thinking that infamous rabbit hole too. Like I have anxiety or I'm nervous or excited, and then I just like pretend it doesn't exist. And then next thing you know, I'm not in my presence and I'm like tripping or getting sick or doing something that just isn't in my matching.
Yeah. And how do you go down that rabbit hole? Like what's the gateway drug into that rabbit hole?
Usually for me, it's not facing something, but in that moment, I don't know I'm not facing it.
Not facing something that I don't know to face.
Yes.
Hey, listen, that's awesome. Gina, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, video rabbit holes. I serve on my local police commission. After George Floyd was murdered, I joined specifically, explicitly to try to be a voice for anti-racism on my police commission. And that is a reliable source of whelps for me, because there are no shortage of very comfortable white people in my community who would like things to stay exactly as they are. And I get really upset about that, and hey, listen, I go vibrate at their level basically, and that's not actually helpful. That's not actually helpful for making the change. Right. And so one of the little tricks, this is like a little bonus thing. Well, maybe this is a way to break it all. The commission only meets once a month. And I noticed for like literally 2 or 3 days afterwards, I would be a little bit in the funk because I felt powerless in some ways about something I really cared about. And I realized I was putting all my attention in the wrong direction and putting my attention on the things I couldn't control. And I really consciously shifted to appreciation. And during the meeting and immediately after the meeting, the next month, I started appreciating the people who were showing up and speaking for people who had had bad experiences with the police or whatever it may be. Because we were really trying to create reform, right? We're not trying to just complain. It shifted everything for me, just by shifting from complaining and feeling upset. It was a way I ulp to constantly just immediately, what can I appreciate? Jody, hey, I see your hand raised.
Hey, Becky.
Hey.
I'm in one of my ways is the incompletions camp, and that's just another form of negative self-talk. It's both the energetic incompletion, but it's also in the category of being down on myself, and which is also in the category of thinking I'm having the wrong experience, which is a lot of it boils down to is if I'm arguing I should be doing or I should not be doing, it's that whole thinking I'm having the wrong experience and arguing with reality. So those are kind of Venn diagrams of each other.
Yeah. So it's it sounds like it starts with like an internal dialogue of I'm doing something wrong, or it starts inside.
Well, I think ultimately, isn't that what it is? Because somebody could tell me I'm doing something wrong, and if I don't match that, it wouldn't affect me.
Right.
And so it really does come down to, start from the self view and the self judgment.
Yeah. Jody, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And I want to hear how you interrupt that. What's your way of interrupting it when you notice yourself doing that?
I have training in setting my own space. I trained in clairvoyant reading and healing, and that's managing the whole sort of the egg of our own aura.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have tools for affecting my own space.
Nice. And you put those tools to work.
Yes.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. All right.
Yeah.
I see a few more coming in. Let me just kind of look at your beautiful faces. Does either in the chat or come off mute, does anybody not have a sense of how you ulp? Because before we move on, I want this to be real for you, of like, so that you can really come up with some concrete ways to transcend this as well. Maybe raise your hand or do a little thumbs up. Terry, are you not sure how you ulp? Okay.
I think that what you're saying, an ulp is reaching your upper limit and staying like at the glass ceiling, basically, right? Is that what you're saying?
An OLP is a something you think or do, or a behavior or a choice you make that lowers your aliveness so
Yeah.
that you can tolerate the amount of aliveness you're experiencing.
So like if I'm in a new relationship or a really great relationship is happening,
Yeah.
because it's intolerable, I'm not used to that.
Yeah.
I'll fixate on the things I don't like about the person and be really critical to the point that I'm starting to try to change that and be like, oh, let me actually make a move towards connection and towards appreciation, because I notice that it's a part of me that's really arrogant and that's intentionally causing distance out of, I believe, fear and anxiety.
That makes total sense to me. So for you, basically finding, looking for something wrong with the person that you're otherwise.
Looking for fault.
Yeah, looking for fault. And that just off you go. Yeah. So Terry, that's a perfect example. So thank you for sharing that. And I saw Darlene was giving you the thumbs up. Bravo from Darlene. All right. Anyone else want to have any questions about this? Because I want to make sure you've got something. We're going to keep it real. Everybody got something real? Anybody not have something real? Anything, Michelle, anything in the chat before we move on?
I don't see anything right now.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Becky, is this being recorded? I'm so sorry I came in late and it looks
Yeah, it is.
being, okay.
It is. Yeah, yeah. So to catch you up, humans do things to stop how good we're feeling. And what we've been doing is crowdsourcing, like what kinds of things do we do? So this is some examples of things people in the room do. And now we're going to switch to, well, what do we do about that? Right? What can we do to create something different here? So let me go back into my handy dandy slideshow. We've done how do you ULP. So this is, she's not on the call right now. Is Mari on the call? Mari Arnold? No,
I don't think I saw Mari here.
I bet you she comes to some of these though. So maybe you've met, some of you know or have met Mari. So I did the LAT program with Mari. We overlapped a good chunk of the time, and someone I consider a dear friend. And in the fellowship, the transformation program that we did with Katie, of course, we're addressing issues that are coming up in our lives or challenges with our relationships or our work or whatever it may be. And Mari was one of the people that I went to often for counsel and coaching and advice. I mean, she's just exceptional. And every single time I went to Mari with something that I believed with every fiber of my being was a real problem, Mari asked me, "Are you sure it's not just an ULP?" and every single time I was like angry with Mari for not hearing me. I was like, "Mari, you don't understand. This is really serious. Don't dismiss it as an ULP. This is a really serious thing." But every single time Mari said that, and I'm so grateful she asked me that like 100 times over 2 years, because I actually now in retrospect think there was a whole bunch of wisdom to Mari's song there, that, and she wasn't being dismissive at all. She was sort of like helping me diagnose and, wait a minute, are you sure you're not just actually having too much fun and finding a way to bring yourself down? So I will pass that along to you. I wish I could follow you around and say it the next 100 times you complain about something, but I think it's just extraordinary wisdom from Mari. I see we have another raised hand. Someone, yeah.
Yes, I was just wondering, is ULP the same as like your triggers and how you automatically behave when you have a trigger?
What's a trigger? What do you mean by trigger?
Like, like if you feel like someone, like if you say you were rejected as a child and then now someone is like aloof and then all of a sudden you're going in your own ruminating. And so the trigger is like feeling rejected. Even if that person is not really rejecting you, you kind of you have that triggered feeling, and then you go into that behavior that is the habit. So you keep, whatever it is that you do, like either you obsessively like eat or drink or ruminate, or is that the same?
Like a habit, like, so basically, so let me break this down in like super layman's terms. So something happens and somehow your body remembers, I felt this way before and I didn't like it. Right.
Yeah.
And then it seems like there's maybe some sort of unconscious behavior perhaps associated to make that kind of bring yourself to calibrate with that, right? And so you're asking, is that an ULP?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if an ALP is the same thing.
Yeah. Which part would you of that, of those three things? So there's the
Your
something happens,
the behavior that you use.
the unconscious behavior.
Yes.
Is that unconscious behavior reducing your aliveness?
Yes.
It's reducing your aliveness. Yes. Got it. Although, and I'm not a therapist in any way, and so asterisk, this could be total bullshit, but in a weird way, it's reducing your aliveness. So in that category, I would be like, that seems to me the category for an ULP. Although it also seems as though there's a self-soothing aspect to it that is perhaps connected to some sort of a survival thing that you're, and I think that this is the differentiation of like how to, and like we've got like Julie Caldwell in here. Julie, jump in anytime. But that self-soothing, right? I don't know, that's really probably sort of connected to me for like helping you survive in some ways. And so you could maybe consciously, when you notice that, interrupt that and perhaps choose a self-soothing that gives you more aliveness maybe. But I think they could be like in the same family, but slightly different things technically. I'm curious if anyone else would want to weigh in on that. Like, but bottom line, if it's reducing your aliveness, I would say there's a Venn diagram overlap with what we're talking about in ULP here.
Sorry, did you already, because I was a few minutes late, did you already talk about how do we increase our aliveness?
We're about to do that.
Oh, okay,
That's
sorry.
next. We're facing into the problem first, and then we're going to spend the rest of the whole time like, okay, well, what do you do? Yeah.
Thank
We
you.
have 2 raised hands. I think we might have like a really amazing conversation. So Jody, yeah.
Especially for people who are new to the concept of an ULP, I think it could be helpful to say that ULP stands for upper limits problem, and that's kind of the context of the situation. And then an ULP, we refer to an ULP as familiar ways we bring about the upper limit problem, which is feeling too good for longer than we're used to, and so we want to bring ourselves back down. And so that to me is kind of the context of when you talk about triggers, what was feeling too good a trigger underneath that for the woman who was just speaking.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Jody. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we're all like walking each other home, right? And so Jody, thank you for those words of wisdom. And I'm really grateful to hear people chiming in with things, and please put things in the chat. Communities where it's at, right? So let's pivot to what do we do? And maybe it is just an ULP, right? So we want to devise an ULP prevention plan. Like, what is your ULP prevention plan? And so, for example, when I host a fellowship that's kind of for social change leaders, it's very similar in design to the Hendricks Institute apprenticeship program I went through. And it's 3 days together 3 times a year, and people tend to really expand and have really just lovely connections and all these things. And one of our sort of parting benedictions to people is, may your ULPs be friendly. Like, we know you've just gone through an expansion. We know you're like in a really, really good space, and you're about to go hop on a plane and go back to your normal life. And you may miss your plane. You may take a wrong exit trying to get back to LAX. You may, whatever may happen, may your ULPs be friendly, right? Like, we can see it coming. So because I'm experiencing this expansion, this is the opportunity now to interrupt your normal patterns and put in place an ULP prevention plan. So we all have different ways of doing these, but this is what I'm going to share with you what I do, but then I'm going to open it up again for like, what might you do? And people who've been doing this for a long time, how do you support yourself in integrating? So the idea is we're expanding. And then maybe there's a little bit of a leveling off because we give ourselves some time to integrate, a little bit of time to integrate this really good thing that's happening in our life. We don't have to like push through and more. We just like, hold on, let me integrate without needing to dip down. And then you could be at this other level and then you expand a little bit more and then integrate and expand a little bit more and integrate. That is, if you put in place an alt prevention plan, that can be how you roll, right? Of course, we're all gonna we're all human, right? But like, this is something I want to put in place. This is a photograph I took about 10 years ago. Kathy Hendricks wrote this on a piece of flip chart paper. Now there are really nice, beautiful graphic meme things about this on Facebook, but I like the handwriting. I think there's something really powerful about handwritten things. And I walked into one of Katie's trainings one day, and up on the flip chart was, I am willing to grow a nervous system that can enjoy massive amounts of positive energy for long periods of time. And I was like, I went up to the front and I took a picture of that thing, and I was like, oh, friendly grokking this thing, right? Like, so I offer this to you also as, and feel free to take a screenshot, as a provocation, an invitation. This is what I'm down for. This is what I'm willing to do in my life. This is how this commitment, this like to grow a nervous system that can enjoy massive amounts of positive energy for long periods of time, then leads me to want to put in place something so that I can integrate when things are going really well. If I keep pushing, or that, then the ULP can happen. But if I realize it's happening, I can do an ULP prevention plan. So I'm just going to share with you a couple of my ULP prevention plans. This is my integration moves. So when I'm on my game, I might be like, all right, things are going really good. Let me go sit in the hot tub. So this is my backyard, and I sit right here in this hot tub and look out at that beautiful tree and appreciate the peacefulness and quiet of my backyard and the little lemon trees on the right. And I'm like, all right, I have so much to appreciate. I have it so good. Let me just take a minute and stargaze. Let me just take a minute and I'm often by myself. And this helps me integrate whatever expansion I'm experiencing in my life. I have a few others that I'll share just to give you ideas. I want you to be jotting down notes, and we'll do that klaxoon board in a moment for what yours are. This particular tree, I think any tree will do, but this is a tree called the majestic oak in the California Botanic Gardens, which are just about half a mile from my house. And I sometimes go to this tree when I'm having especially expansive moments, and I just sit underneath this tree, or even just go touch it and allow myself to feel the grounding energy of that tree. And I feel better. It's almost like a ritual for me. So this is a way that I can integrate. It gets me outside, it gets me breathing fresh air, it gets me walking. And now this has become a touchstone in my life, right? And so there's that. And then here's one more. This is my cat Sneakers. This is the one we kept. This is the one that hated Sweet Puff, but little, if I lay down, Sneakers will come lay on my stomach. And that actually is also a way that I can integrate whatever's going on in my life. I'm gonna go get some quality time with Sneakers. Okay. So those are just a couple that I use. And all these things help me integrate all the good things happening in my life. Appreciation does too, as well. So I want to, well, Michelle, while I'm putting the links in the chat to get what people's integration moves that they are, so you can like have an integration plan. Is there anything in the chat that we should talk about?
So let me have a look here. Well, Gina mentioned that an early ULP of hers was locking keys in her car or trunk. So that went by. And just appreciation. I'm seeing a lot of in here. I have one because because my is often a worry thought. So I'll feel super expanded and excited, and might be thinking about my children, something awesome's happening, and I immediately have the shoe's going to drop kind of worry thought. And so what I trained myself to do is to open up my arms and remind myself that I expand my capacity for whatever it is that the worry thought has to do with. So if I'm super expanded with abundance, I expand my capacity for abundance. So that's one of my like easy in the moment ways to meet my upper limit.
Oh my God, I wish you had come to the beach with me and the kids on Friday. I was like, get away from those waves. And I was like, what's wrong with me? Right? Like, yeah, I could be like, I expand my capacity for savoring my kids' childhood, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. Or a day at the beach. I love that. That's perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. So, Michelle, thank you for sharing that. And I'm going to invite you to our next beach run, which is only every couple years because, oh my God, the beach is really messy when you have kids. So
Sounds good.
if you can click, shine your camera on this QR code or click on the link in the chat. I'll put it in again. And then we're going to go ahead together and construct, crowdsource some ways of integrating. So you saw for me the hot tub. Look, this is already getting populated. This is fabulous. But to bathroom filters, that sounds fun. Take a nap, nature. These are great. So let's populate this. And what I'll do is I can take a screenshot of these, Michelle, and then if it makes sense, you could add this on Mighty Networks too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can also add it to the video at the end of the video. I'll put it in there. I also took a screenshot of the last one.
Okay.
But you might get a better shot of it.
Yeah, they do like a pro screenshot.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, masturbate. That's good. Okay. This is good. Whatever you need to do. I love it. Sex away, masturbate, hug a tree and really smell it. These are all great, y'all. These are really great. All right. I think play.
Not exactly what I was thinking. Like touch my face, touch myself.
You're like, need to clarify. This is great. These are all awesome. I'm going to refer to this because I think we could all continually expand our integration playlist. Like, what is it? Like, play a fun song, jump on a rebounder. What is it? What is it really helps you keep going? These are great. Michelle, any really sticking out to you?
I was just thinking about one of my ways too is to have tea and really sit and enjoy a piece of dark chocolate and tea.
Ooh.
And it's like a luxury when I have to put it in my favorite beautiful mug.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Butterfly, universal symbol of transformation. Okay.
Yeah, I'm seeing some wonderful ones here.
Yeah, these are great. I want to be next door neighbors with Michelle so that we can remind each other to integrate.
This sounds good. I'm liking this plan. This is a great plan.
I'm bringing the tea. I'll see you in the hot tub. Okay, good.
So someone's asking, how do you tell the difference between integration behaviors and avoidance behaviors? Great question.
Ooh, I don't know. Let's see. I mean, I would look to you for that, right? So whoever asked that, do you want to come off mute and we can all try to kind of give our thoughts about that? Because that's not one of those things where I know the answer to it. So what do you think it is for you, a difference between integrating and not facing?
Sure. I think for me, I certainly try to feel my belly, feel the ground, connect in myself more fully before I or if the thing I'm doing gives me that sense of greater aliveness, then I tend to think that it's a more integrative behavior. Sorry, I'm wearing a mask. I'm at work.
Hey, no apologies. Yay, masks. Yeah.
And I find I think that there are some times when I think for me, one of the challenge areas I have is I've trained myself through my Protestant work ethic to move towards things that are hard. And so that means often that when there are challenging situations, part of me wants to always dive my head into the thing that is hard. But that sometimes I think is upper limit behavior, and that I will move myself into a more depressing or challenged state, as opposed to allowing myself to savor. If I'm in a good state, I'll look for what's hard now, so I can get back to what feels hard. And so I feel torn sometimes between something that's maybe a helpful, that is a helpful behavior for me to feel grounded, or that's actually avoiding the thing that's challenging that I do need to spend time on. So, there's a time when the challenging thing is something I really need to do, and there's a time when the challenging thing is me upper limiting. And that's, I think, where the tension zone is for me.
Yeah. I love it. You reminded me of the E.B. White quote, which has a little bit of white saviorism in it, but nonetheless, like I wake up in the morning torn between saving the world and savoring the world. And it makes it hard to plan my day. I think that that's I totally get that. And appreciate that about you, And so how could you know for you what the difference is?
I think it is always allowing myself to pause and integrate, not feeling like I need to rush into the next thing, which there is, I think there's often a feeling like, I've got to keep up a certain amount of momentum or I'll lose that momentum.
Yeah.
And that's part of that work ethic kind of feeling. And there's a fear thing in there. There's a fear that comes from, if I don't, tuck into bull mode and go forward here, then I won't do it at all. I'll lose all my momentum. It's like, again, kind of a fear or worry that can come into that space. And so I think there is maybe a letting go component. So I feel like that is just allowing myself to pause, allowing myself to, I meditate, and that does help, or do a movement practice, and just know nothing is truly so urgent as I believe it is, or rarely is that the case.
Yeah, I wonder if there's some pattern interrupt in those moments. Because this is one of those things where there's these little bitty micro moments of, do I press on and, or do I stop? And if I stop, am I going to run out of fucks to give? Because, right. Or do I actually need to take a moment and integrate and recalibrate, right? I know that there's that choice moment for you. And I wonder if there's something really unorthodox that you could do in that moment that would interrupt that pattern. I'm just going to say, do 3 jumping jacks and just just do right there, completely off the wall to interrupt that pattern, so you could choice.
Yeah, I like the idea.
Yeah.
Just you let it something that is, I do like the idea of not necessarily having that thing. I certainly have these behaviors that I, like meditating, movement practice, yoga, martial arts practice, that are go-tos. And I always usually feel good, but sometimes they can be part of the pattern. And so I do like the idea of there being something that is interruptive, something that's just wild and different, and that really does shake things up.
I'm thinking of the Matrix, where Morpheus is like,
right.
What do you got? I'm sure I did that wrong, but something, because you're right, all that stuff can just get added to your to-do list, and now you're
right.
Wait, your Protestant work ethicing your meditation practice.
Oh, totally.
And I'm sure you're not alone in that.
Thanks so much. Those are some very good thoughts.
I appreciate you're really going into that super moment of choice, and even the attention, I think, is going to yield exciting things for you. So appreciate you sharing.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation.
Is there anything else in the chat?
I noticed Mari's here, so I sent her a screenshot of what you put up there.
Mari's here.
Mari's here. We do have a question from Elena.
Mari can account for her wisdom to the group now. So Mari, I shared with them that every time I came to you and thought I had a real legit straight up problem, every single time your response was, "Are you sure it's not just an all?"
And I actually was on the phone in the car, so I actually heard it and I was laughing. Especially
That's great.
You embellish it hundreds of times.
I think the 182nd time that Mari asked me, "Are you sure it's not just an all?" I was like, maybe, and roll my eyes.
But I also want to add a new alt for me is not being able to figure out Klaxoon there for a moment.
Hey, all right. But did you get it?
I did.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
I have
We have a
I-
question from Elena.
Yeah,
Would you like?
Elena, what's up?
All right. What about when an ULP is super intense and brings you to your knees and normal stuff like being in nature isn't enough? Like maybe you let it get too big and now it feels like a tsunami. That happened to me just this morning. I got through it with the help of my peeps, but my peeps aren't always available.
Oh, wow. So like a super duper ginormous Das Uber Ulp. Okay. So Elena, thank you for asking that. So you had like a super, super big Ulp this morning. And okay. So you got through this by reaching out to your people, which by the way, is a great integration move, right? So I just want to like super duper appreciate that. And it sounds like you have a story that my peeps aren't always available. So could that be not to pull a Mari on you, but could that be an ULP in and of itself? Not to be like a coffee table book about coffee table books, but are you sure that there won't be peeps available next time? I mean, just give you a chance here, and congratulations for grounding yourself and working through that really big ULP too. But are you able to go off mute and share a little more about that? Because we're all here to love on you in your ULP moments.
Yeah, maybe it is an alt moment. Maybe I do have a belief that that's not something that you can rely on, that maybe it's great when people are available, but there might be times when there isn't anybody to reach out to. And then what do you do when the wave hits you? Boom.
So like well, first of all, I just want to truly, like, I know those tsunami alt moments. And so you're probably still recalibrating from that, right. And just being here, I'm hoping is also supporting your integration. I'm so happy to see you here. And what you just described, I want to share with you the bucket I put in my brain is fleeing forward into the future. You're like, but what if next time my friends aren't here? And that also takes us out of the present moment, which could be a way of ulping. And listen, I don't know you super good, but I imagine you've got peeps.
Mm-hmm.
And they might not be available at that moment, but maybe in an hour, right? You might have to wait an hour and but that is that flee forward familiar for you? Because that could actually be an ULP for you.
It's definitely familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely familiar. And it is also interwoven with the classic, I don't want to take up too much space. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to bother other people with my ULP. Mm-hmm. And I should be able to figure this out by myself, damn it. Mm-hmm. And so there's all kinds, as we're talking about it, there's all kinds of threads that are woven into that. So yeah, and then when all the threads start weaving in, I'm starting to get this feeling that instead of it like just being like gentle waves in the ocean, it's like they start to build up. And they, and like, instead of it just being these waves that hit, it's like they kind of all come together, and that all of those belief systems then like all come together and sort of turn into this tsunami. And interestingly, after I worked through it this morning, a lot of the things that were hitting me fell away. And I was being bombarded with people asking me to help them with things, or things that I felt obligated to help people with. And they fell away this afternoon, and I no longer need to do those things. So it was very interesting how it all played out.
Yeah. There is this interesting phenomenon of, I was just talking with one of my friends about how she's just been taking a lot of naps, and like the business keeps coming in. Like sometimes there's like the do nothing integration move. And like, I'm just gonna, which gets to Devin's question, I think, about, am I avoiding, or who was saying, am I avoiding? But okay. So I'm glad that everything cleared up, I'm glad you have that. And I want you to have so maybe you want to have a portfolio of ULP prevention plans. So listen, we all need each other, right? So part of what I hear you unwinding a little bit is that sort of individualism, which is so woven into the fabric of US culture, at least, right? This, I can do it myself and all of that. So it seems like that's something that you're creating some spaciousness for unwinding a little bit, because really in nature and everything it's interdependence, right? I think it's more of the wisdom of the African notion of Ubuntu, right? I am because we are, right? Like that's what actually makes us able, to connect. So it seems like there's some unwinding of that pattern. And maybe you want to have an ULP prevention plan that is also complementary to and non-PEEP dependent.
Mhm.
Like, is there something
And,
else? Yeah.
and some big stuff, like not hugging a tree, not going to the beach, because this was a situation where like that was not enough.
It was ULP prevention.
Like when you need a big one, like a big, like a really powerful, and I don't know what it is yet. I don't necessarily know what my big, like when you have to like dig down deep in your pocket and get that one out that for use in emergencies only.
Break
So
break
yeah,
really big ULPs.
I'm curious if anybody on the call has any ideas about like big ULP prevention plan.
What you got, Mari? Yeah.
I love to ask myself, how was I being, not what was I doing, but how was I being that was expanded in a way that I haven't been before. So it's really acknowledging the expansion. And then there's also just the simple one that my friend Nancy does, which is pats herself on the back and going, "Atta girl, you're expanding."
Yeah. Oh, Mari, always tuning into how am I being, or how do I even want to be? How do I want to feel? Right. I love it. And we're coming up on the top of the hour. I want to, and we can stay and answer some questions. I would be remiss if I did not share with you that I want to offer you the first chapter of my book that's coming out in April for free. If you just click on that QR code, I think Michelle will put in the chat the link. This book is written for social change leaders on how to repair the world without breaking yourself. The foreword is written by Kathlyn Hendricks. So you can get a little piece of Katie in there too. And it's a lot of an adaptation of these concepts into the work of trying to make the world a better place. So please consider that as a gift from me. And I'd be so grateful if you would read that. And if you think it's good, share it with your friends. And Jessen, I see your hand raised.
Hi. So I wanted to speak about antecedents, which I've been thinking a lot about with barking dogs or being exhausted, or what's happening when we're reaching our upper limits. Like, what are the things where we keep saying yes when we should say no, or we're giving out more than we should give in? Like, what are our patterns before that, before the big meltdown? Mm-hmm. And kind of in answer to that question with Elena, it's easier with a puppy, right? Because they start barking and then they won't stop because they got too upset. But what was happening before that? And how, so what's happening with us? Did we not have enough self-care, or was something trigger us and we didn't process it? What's happening before, so that it doesn't get too far from this resilient baseline of health? I was thinking.
Thank you, Jessen. Did I say your name right? Is it Jessen or Jassan?
I'm Jessen, and this is Jasmine. She's the best.
Oh, hey, Jasmine. Hey, Jessen. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. All right, and do you say your name Shabnam? How do you?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just going to interrupt for 1 sec. What I would love to do is to take us to close the call officially, so that anybody who needs to leave on time, and then Becky, it sounds like you're willing to stay for a little bit to answer some questions. I'm happy to do that. But I just wanted to thank you for this amazing, powerful call. And I noticed that Julie wrote an appreciation before she just left. And she said, it's been fabulous. And I agree with her. So I just want to thank you so much and appreciate you. And I appreciate everyone for being with us. And we have a class next Wednesday night with Kathy Hendricks. So don't miss that. And I'm actually going to pop in I forgot to put the link to join the network for anyone who's new and hasn't joined that. And so that's it from me. And I'm happy for you to continue now with your questions.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you, everyone. And I can stay on for a few more minutes if people want to talk about this a little bit more. Absolutely. And thank you, everyone, for participating. What great crowdsourced wisdom, truly. All right, Shabnam, I think you're up.
Thank you. Oh, I was just, first of all, thank you so much. I really found this very helpful. But in response to Elena, if she has the discipline, because I also want to know the same question that she has, but one thing that sometimes works is just, checking in and just naming your feeling, like validating your feeling, and also writing it down for yourself, like whatever it is that you're going to tell your friends, just sometimes writing it down, it might help.
Thank you, Shabnam. This is all, we can all share different techniques, and some will work for you and some won't, and that's good. We're just all learning what we need, right? Awesome. Any other, let's see, we've gotten to Jasmine, Shabnam. Anybody else want to talk about some things? Anything else in the chat, Michelle?
I'm not
you
seeing anything. Let's see. Well, Claudia was just saying, looking in the mirror and giving herself compassion has helped in really difficult tsunamis. I appreciate that, Claudia. I also had the thought that when something really big is happening, that's when community and friends and close people to us, someone who you feel super safe with, that's when that's the most important. So that's what keeps coming up for me over and over again is thinking that connection with others when we're feeling that blown up by something. So that's my thought on that.
Let's see. I guess I'm up. Okay. I just had a big tsunami where I was out in nature with my family and boom, I hit the ground. I mean, a face plant. And I clearly, when I went back to what was before, hadn't listened to myself with the thought, I'll just stay by the water. That's really clear. And I guess I hadn't put out, let my ups be friendly.
Yeah.
Because it was a biggie with some stitches.
Oh.
Yeah, really. But I'm still wondering, because I had family all around. I'm in a family hike. It's the day after Christmas. I'm feeling great. And boom.
Yep.
I'm just still wondering, what was all of that about? To have my family near me, that they were there, they did have my back. I guess I'm looking for some other ways to explore the big lessons.
What do you think is the biggest lesson for you in that?
The simple lesson of, I had said, I'll just stay by the water.
Mm-hmm.
And yet the enticement of I'll be with my family there, a brief time that they're all in from 5 different states, lured me away from really listening to myself.
Yeah. I think that's that's a good, if that, I'd rather you be able to have that without having to have stitches, but I think that's a good one. Obviously, if for what it's worth, like 2 cents is get you a cup of coffee, but I think that's a good takeaway personally. Listen to yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pop quiz from the universe.
Yeah, pop quiz. No. I just laugh about it now.
Yeah. Well, I would say I've heard this has been a theme tonight of like, well, what was happening before? What was happening before? What was happening before? And for all of us to bring some curious attention to that for some of our ULPs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Curious attention.
That's what I was thinking too, when was not going on the witch hunt to figure things out, but to actually just be in the open space of I'm open to whatever learnings are available to me from this, or whatever that is, like kind of in that softer space.
Oh,
yeah, thank
you, Michelle, for that was like no net, that toss, that was just no net. That was yeah.
Yeah, I like the softer space. Yeah.
If you have a dream that's difficult, is that an upper limit problem? You know, it brings back some past issues.
Dream like you're sleeping a dream, or like a vision for your life kind of dream?
Like, you know, dreaming in the, you know, that you wake up with a dream like this morning, and this stuff from the past that never is quite resolved, that I'm kind of ignoring. Was there, I have the hardest time with bad dreams in the morning, or what feels bad. They feel chunky.
So your question was like, is a bad dream, could that be an upper limits problem?
Yeah, I came in late, so I'm gonna have to go over this to get more understanding. Yeah.
Well, you know, that just it's like a one sentence thing. Is it something that a technique you use to down regulate your aliveness? So, and it can be conscious or unconscious. And then the idea is, well, okay, what can we do? So when you ask if is it an ULP, does it, when that happens, is that making you feel less alive? Is that what is it that's reducing or diminishing your aliveness?
Yeah, just bringing back a worry, and yeah, like if I don't think about that situation in my sleep, I'll be a lot happier.
Right. If only you could control your dreams, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, so, I mean, there probably is some stuff about that, right? Like I've heard some people say, depending on what you eat, you can have sweeter dreams or something like that, but like that, you know, I don't know about that. But there may also be, there's the what happened, which is, I don't know if I'm going to say this right, but like while I was sleeping, my subconscious brain wanted to show me a movie that feels heavy and icky to me, you know, right? But then there's also the story we make about the what happened, the meaning we associate with that. You know, so like, for example, I'll get like, one could be like, oh no, why do I keep having this dream? There must be something wrong, you know? And truly with the exact same one happening, another little thought bubble could be, oh, I'm so grateful my subconscious mind is working this shit out, so I don't have to think about it anymore. Right? So you can have the same what happened, and we could make up, I mean, everyone in this room, we could make it like a party game, could make up 100 different stories about what that means. And so part of my curiosity for you, Claudia, is it the thing, or is it the story you're making up about the thing that's diminishing your aliveness? So it could be both too. I don't mean to present that as an either or, but where does your aliveness go down?
Yeah, the aliveness is like, you're not supposed to have bad dreams. You're supposed to have inspiring dreams.
So if the bad dream is in and of itself an unconscious ULP, you are like dogpiling on the unconscious ULP with a conscious ULP to tell yourself a story that something's wrong with you.
Yeah, right. You shouldn't be having this kind of dream, you should be having a better kind of dream.
It's kind of silly when you say it out loud, you know?
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, this is where the choice point is, right? Of like, is there a pattern interrupt, something you can do to change your state, to change your story, so that you're creating a different experience of your own aliveness in, you know, whatever that may be.
Yeah, I have to think about what I can do in those situations. Definitely tell myself a different story.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I have intuitive dreams and they're actually helpful, like, you know, cautionary tales or whatever. You know?
Yeah, I wonder if there's some appreciation for your subconscious mind in there, good, bad, or ugly, you know? If you're having, you know, if you're really in touch with your intuition, and that, you know, like Michelle, like your statements around, I expand my capacity, you know, of like, I, you know, thank you, subconscious brain, you know, grateful for you expanding my capacity, and I'm listening, I see you, you know, and now for some stretches.
Yeah, I like that. Now for some stretches.
Yeah. You're like, what would be a way for you to friendly integrate that experience without it needing to be the grr, you know?
Yeah.
Becky, Kathy, you mentioned something just in the slight of word that fell into my heart so solidly when you said saving the world versus savoring the world.
Oh yeah, E.B. White.
Saving the world is an ulp for me. When I invite myself into someone's space and awareness other than my own energy, that's where my joy sometimes disappears rather quickly. And so this is I love this because it's opened up a huge space for me. So I thank you for saying that just incidentally, but it was a very big space for me, and I thank you for it.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And I want to give you like a red carpet invitation to read that first chapter of that book, because
I already got it. Yep.
That's the pool I'm swimming in, is how can I show up in healthy responsibility for the whole of the web of life, knowing like I am me, and this is me, and that is you. And also knowing whether we like it or not, we're inextricably linked, you know? And so our fates are tied. I can't run and save everything, and I can influence things. And where's the balance? It's that the book is sort of my exploration of that. Yeah.
Awesome. Yay. Thank you. I just wanted you to know I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. Yeah. That one, I would, as I grow older, would like to err on savor. Yeah.
I'm with you, sister.
Me too. If I have a choice, but I can't even go to the beach.
Oh, wow.
I'm loving this. It feels like a virtual salon. So I'm really appreciating all of your presence and getting to have connection with people near and far. Yeah.
Thank you for holding this space.
Yeah.
Really.
Thank you, Becky, so much.
Thank you to Michelle.
Yeah, Michelle, thank you. And thank you to you and the Hendricks Institute for making this available for everybody.
My pleasure, our pleasure. So yay. Well, thank you. Let's all unmute and say goodbye. We can go read the book. Read the first chapter.
Thank you. Thank you
Good
so
night.
much.
Bye.
Thank
Thank you.
Have a good night.